Still I Rise is an exhibition that considers resistance from a gender perspective. It spans from the 19th century to the present day, and many of the artists and artworks in this exhibition also speculate towards possible futures. There are around 55 artists, practitioners, architects and designers in the exhibition from all over the world.
The title of the exhibition comes from Maya Angelou's poem of the same title, Still I Rise. Maya Angelou was an African-American poet, activist and entertainer, and this poem really embodies resistance from a woman, African-American perspective. It's also a space where we can look at intersectionality, which is an important concept for the exhibition, but also for the development of the curatorial process. Intersectionality is a term that embodies a multiplicity of oppressions that one can live in our lives.
There are many different themes and ideas that permeate the exhibition. One of the things that's been really important for us to acknowledge is that resistance can take many different forms and has taken many different forms across different points in time and across different areas of the world. There are photographs in the exhibition that show mass uprisings, but there are also works that show much smaller forms of resistance that can happen in daily life.
At the beginning of the exhibition, we also have a forum space where we invite visitors to look at a collection of zines. This is a zine library that has been growing since Act 1 at Nottingham Contemporary and will continue to do so during the course of the exhibition here at the Warr Pavilion.
So one of the key works for us that really helped us to think through the exhibition is an architectural project by Alice Constance Austin, who was a self-taught architect. And in the early part of the 20th century, she was invited to make a utopian city plan for a population of around 10,000 people in the desert in California. And that city was to be called Llano del Rio. It was a space where the patriarchy was sort of physically built out of the city. So she was looking at how things like kitchenless homes could push private domestic labour into sort of communal ownership and a sense of communal responsibility. Another important aspect of the exhibition is design. We have a wall full of posters from across different places and times in history. We're really interested in the way that often advertising can dominate public space, and advertising, now and historically has been a place where patriarchal ideas of labour, of consumerism, and of ideas of beauty and sort of normative relationships play out. And a lot of the designers and activists that are working through sort of design in the public space are really thinking about how to challenge some of those dominant ideologies that shape our everyday lives, experience of self and experience of others around us. Another important thing to say about this exhibition is that it's not just a women's feminism art exhibition. We've worked really hard through sort of networks of mind maps and connections to show how feminist activism has intersected with queer LGBTQ plus activism across history.
F Architecture conceived the temporary walls inspired by the circular shape that Alice Constance Austin conceived for the development of Llano del Rio, and worked with strong colors that are inspired by the works within the exhibition.
So the exhibition has several parts that the visitor walks through, guided by these walls that F Architecture have positioned through the space. So the beginning of the exhibition starts with a series of photographs by different artists and photographers and photojournalists that look at the kind of collective mass uprising, including disability rights activism, women's activism against apartheid rule in South Africa. And then as you move through the exhibition, you encounter the forum space, which is a space for collective discussion, action, events and workshops around social justice and social change from a gender perspective. You then move further into another part of the exhibition that contains a large poster wall, considering how design has played into narratives of the built environment. And then you come through into another further space that considers architecture and the built environment in relation to gender. And then the last final space of the gallery, where we are now, looks at women's role in eco-activism and poetic responses to the idea of resistance.
This exhibition is an invitation to consider how resistance can take place in our everyday, but also it's a way of asking questions about our ways of living within the capitalist framework that we live today. It's an invitation to ask yourself questions rather than giving answers about what resistance has to be.
For us, it's important that the exhibition has taken place in 2 acts. So Act 1 opened at Nottingham Contemporary in the autumn of last year, and Act 2 is taking place here. There are a number of works that have travelled between both venues, but at each space, different questions have been asked, different practitioners have been invited to participate. And what that helps us to do is to acknowledge the fact that we're part of an ongoing conversation. So this exhibition, we're not considering it as something that has a beginning and an end. It's already been part of a longer conversation. It's a conversation that we hope to have with our visitors as well, and with the practitioners that have contributed to the show. So it really is a kind of provocation, an invitation, and a gathering together of different practitioners across space and time.